That bastard. I'd gone 34 years of my life without breaking a single bone in my body. Until now. I've heard that most people cry when they break a bone. I'll be honest. I cried. I cried like a bitch while my dog Rex chased after the person who broke my leg. Since then, Rex hasn't returned. Of course, a police report was immediately filed after this incident. They said that something like this has never happened in this neighborhood. Is there anyone who may want to cause you harm? One of the officers asked. No, I replied. Most of the time I'm either out of the country for work or here with my wife. They said they'd do what they can. Just do your job, I said from my hospital bed. It's been almost 2 weeks now, and I've heard nothing back. As if there was a worse time for this to happen. I'm an accomplished marine biologist. Harvard grad with a PhD in biological and biomedical sciences. I spent 7 years of my life to analyze the biological makeup of fish intestines, not defend myself from an asshole with a baseball bat. My upcoming expedition was scheduled for this month, where I'd be working with a team in the Asian Pacific Ocean region for 3 to 4 months. The trip has obviously been pushed back a few weeks, so I could at least walk with crutches. But if I don't heal by then, I could lose my position on the team and risk going months without pay. I can't afford to stay crippled. Good news! My wife Chelsea announced as she entered the house with Rex at her side. A neighbor saw our ad, and Rex looks like he's completely fine. A smile stretched across my face, a feeling that had become unfamiliar these last couple of weeks. Who found him? I asked. One of the neighbors from a couple streets over. They said they found him walking around the park. Chelsea let go of Rex, who eagerly ran up to greet me, tail wagging in a frenzy back and forth. Thank God he was safe now. There wasn't a single bruise or cut on him from head to toe. I thought you'd be happy to have him back. Thank you for putting up those ads. I looked up at her from my recliner. Of course, she replied. I hated feeling useless. I'm supposed to be the one who made the big bucks, mowed the lawn on hot summer days, and especially put up flyers when our dog went missing. Not laying on my ass, healing. I couldn't blame her, though. That is, for keeping me cooped up in this house for the last 2 weeks to get well. She's been here to support me more than anyone else I know, and she seems to be happier with me at home. With Rex pacing back and forth in front of me, I decided to take him outside. Leaning forward, I felt a shock of pain shoot up my leg. A voice taunted me in my head. Are you going to cry again, little bitch? I gritted my teeth and clenched my crutches. I'm a man, not a bitch. I think for now, you should just let him out in the backyard, Chelsea suggested. You know, to be safe. I shouldn't be scared to walk my dog in my own neighborhood. Well, what can you do if that happens again, or worse? She asked. You think a bulletproof vest would be enough? We laughed at the time, but the next day I started seriously thinking about it. Who says I can't be more proactive? No, I've never held a gun, and Chelsea was against owning weapons altogether. But she didn't have to know. Hell, no one does. Days passed. Chelsea would go to work, and I'd go to the shooting range with my new Ruger Mark IV pistol. I even took a class on gun safety. In it, they stated the 4 rules as were followed. 1. All guns are loaded. 2. Never let the muzzle cover anything you are not willing to destroy. 3. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. And 4. Be sure of your target and what is beyond it. I repeated these to myself in silence between the soundproof earmuffs as I aimed down the range. My eyes centered down the sights on the barrel. I imagined that each silhouette was the bastard I saw that night. Who's the bitch now? The voice in my head sneered. After a week, I was finally ready to find my assailant. I needed to make him feel what it's like to be pathetic and helpless. While Chelsea was at work, I went from watching the sidewalk for any suspicious figures at day to actively looking for him as I'd walk Rex at night. Are you sure you want to go out at this time of night? Chelsea would ask as I strained to bend down and tie my shoes. Yes, I stood up, making sure that my pistol was wedged in the rear of my pants. If I don't get used to walking now, I won't be ready to go back to work anytime soon. Do you really have to leave again? She asked apprehensively. Last time you went on a trip for work, you said it'd be for 4 months, and it turned out to be 6. I reassured her. Yes, I need to do this. Bills need to be paid, mouths need to be fed, and I can't do that unless I work. She crossed her arms in what I read to be concern, perhaps for my safety or our marriage, or something completely separate. Regardless, I needed to go and prove to my wife, my assailant, and myself that I was going to stand up for myself. I walked down the aisles of houses, scanning down every single one for a hooded figure. Come out, wherever you are, I thought as the sharp pain in my leg spiked with every step I took. Rex followed next to me, obediently. No matter how many miles we walked, no matter how sore my leg would get, no matter how many nights it took, I wasn't going to give up until I made the assailant hurt. And with the pain that came from every one of my patrols, the debt I'd make the assailant repay for my pain only grew. And then, after 9 agonizing nights of walking Rex, I found him. He was sitting at a park under a dark pavilion with only burnt-out lights. I was fully certain it was him. I'd spot that purple hood anywhere. And he even had a bat resting next to him. He was waiting for me, but I found him first. I tied Rex to a streetlight so he wouldn't get hurt if anything were to happen. And as I approached the park pavilion, I repeated the 4 rules of gun safety in my head. All guns are loaded. Damn right they are. And all bats have the potential to break legs. Never let the muzzle cover anything you are not willing to destroy. I hope he sees the end of my muzzle, knowing that he was what I chose to destroy. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. With 20 feet between the bastard and I, my finger was well on the trigger. I could hit him from here, but I needed to be sure I wouldn't miss, especially because of Rule 4. Be sure of your target and what is beyond it. I'm doing this only to harm the person that's harmed me. If I miss, that could mean accidentally shooting one of the hundreds of families living here. But if I don't do this, the cops will do nothing, and no one, not my neighbors, Chelsea, or Rex, will be safe. The time is now. Aim for the torso. 3 clean shots should do it. The chamber was loaded, and the pistol was cocked. The only thing left was to pull the trigger. But what if I can't? You have to, the voice taunted. Else to you and your family, you will always be a little bitch who cried and pissed himself when he got mugged. Fuck. The pain in my leg seized, and with it so did my trigger finger. 1, 2, and 3, just like I practiced. The person shrieked and dropped to the ground. I took the clip out of the gun and tucked it away, cautiously approaching the bastard. He laid face down on the ground with a puddle of blood forming around his torso. Who's the bitch now? I asked, looking down on him. I just wanted you to stay, a woman replied. It was Chelsea. I dropped to my knees, knowing damn well how much pain it would incur. Her breath was growing short as she looked back at me. I didn't mean to, I found the words evaporating. How could this be? The hoodie, the bat, everything fit the description to a T. I would have done anything to make you stay, just a little longer. I couldn't take you leaving for another 6 months. I was so happy to have you back. I felt like if I let you go again, you might never come back. No one has ever made me feel as happy as... She trailed off as her face grew still, and then she was gone. Rex was barking madly in the distance. As tears welled up at my chin, I tried to make sense of what I had done. But no matter what, I couldn't. I did this out of hatred toward the person who made me feel small. But I never wanted this. Even if it was Chelsea who broke my legs weeks ago, she did it to be close to me, because I wouldn't listen to reason, and she was willing to do anything to make me stay. I did this. Slowly, sirens grew in the distance until they overshadowed Rex's barking, and the puddle of blood encircled where I knelt. Hi, listener. My name's Kevin Baker, and I hope you enjoyed my story. I'm planning on releasing 1 video per week. Hopefully they're a lot better. This is my first video, so only hope to get better from here. And if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. I want to work on my enunciation and video and audio presentation. But thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.